I'm still very bullish on Echelon Prime, and seeing its utility token called Prime go into the price of $200 during this bull run, I still have my sights on that, even though that's not financial advice. And let me explain why. It's because if we take a look at Echelon, we'll see how it's even been stated how it's a platform that enables games to leverage blockchain features. Now, why does this even matter? Some people may be thinking because they think that, oh, blockchain gaming is done, it sucks, and all this type of stuff. I'll say this. When we take a look at blockchain gaming, I get it. It's not perfect as of right now. Many blockchain games out there, they really do suck. And I can't speak on every single blockchain game, but they're generally not that good. But it doesn't mean that the future can't be different because when we take a look at Grandview Research, according to them, by 2030, the blockchain gaming market is expected to exceed $300 billion. I mean, let's just let that sink in. Over $300 billion. That's bigger than some countries' GDP. I get it. There's going to be hype for AI. There's going to be hype for NFTs. There's going to be hype for DeFi projects, right? Decentralized finance projects. But really, I think blockchain gaming has its own unique niche. And I think it really puts a good spin towards, traditional gaming, so to speak. Because let's say, I'm just playing like Batman or whatever in my living room. How is there a way to really earn income from that, right? But then there needs to be, I think, a solution to that. And that is hypothetically through play-to-earn games. Because through play-to-earn games, hypothetically, individuals, they could maybe play games and then, let's say, in the process, potentially earn income. We take a look at what Axie Infinity did not too long ago, especially back in 2021. But as of right now, again, many blockchain games out there, the tokenomics are not sustainable. It's not that fun to play. So it's very difficult to kind of justify, someone choosing to play that instead of traditional gaming, which is just a lot better as of right now. But in my opinion, I like the concept when it comes to blockchain gaming. And if anything, I think it's a good time for me to believe in these blockchain gaming projects as of right now, because the way you take a look at it is that the key is to enter before things really take off, right? I really want to focus on a market that hasn't really gained that, mainstream status where it's just a market that has relatively kind of plateaued. I don't want that. I want something that's still on the rise. And, seeing many quote unquote bad blockchain games out there, I think if anything, it's a good sign for me to enter because I don't want to, go into a market that really already is good. So this is what I like. Now, even besides that, when we take a look at Echelon, they claim that they are advancing Web3 gaming with frictionless and compelling Prime Utility token that enhances experiences. And now those are just a bunch of fancy words, but we have to take a look at what really matters because we have to take a look at Echelon's involvement with something called Parallel. Now, some people may be thinking, oh, what do you mean, man? Is it drawing like two lines like that? No, okay? Parallel is something that is actually quite revolutionary in its own right because when we take a look at it, it is a digital trading card game. More specifically, it is a sci-fi based competitive card game. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, man, card games, they're out of style and all this type of stuff. Well, let me explain why I think this could actually be something, pretty good for the future of Echelon, at least in terms of creating that good reputation. Because when we take a look at it, according to Zion Market Research, the global trading card game market size is predicted to reach over $11 billion by the end of 2030. So, I mean, that's pretty good right there. Now, it's not going to be like, the biggest gaming genre of all time. I'm totally aware of that, but it's still good nonetheless that Echelon even, is doing something at least. This is the way to take a look at it. Now, is there still a lot of work to do? Absolutely, because there needs to be more. But I don't mind because even during a fully fledged bull run, what I've noticed is that typically what people care about is the narrative. They care about the anticipation. They care more so about, what something could be as opposed to what it already is. I mean, take a look at many metaverse projects out there, right? Many DeFi projects. They say they're going to launch this, launch that. They never do anything, but then during a fully fledged bull run, they do very well. And still, I would argue that, what? When it comes to Echelon, it's a pretty massive project. It's not the biggest, but it's pretty okay, especially for blockchain gaming. Even despite that, there really isn't like that much going on for Echelon to even begin with, at least in my opinion. I'm very bullish on Echelon, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really have much going on. But still, the project is still pretty massive. And I think that right there, if anything, kind of paints the narrative or the picture of what the current state of the blockchain gaming space or even just the whole crypto space overall is like, right? They don't really care about, current adoption. They more so care about the narrative, the story. And I do like the story here because, of course, I'm bullish on blockchain gaming. So why wouldn't I be bullish on one of the premier projects for blockchain gaming and in this case? Now, Prime going to the price of $200, some people may be thinking, okay, That's a little bit impossible. Well, let's take a look at this scenario, right? Because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $7 billion. I get it, that's around a 66x from here, but around a $7 billion market cap? I mean, seriously? Just think about this, right? Let's say during a fully fledged bull run. I'm not saying next week, I'm not saying like, in a month or whatever. I'm just saying during a fully fledged bull run. Let's say something like, Bitcoin went to the price of around $300,000. Let's say the market cap at that point's around 6 trillion. And let's say, during that process, right, during that time, Ethereum reaches a market cap of around 2 trillion. So combined, that's 8 trillion, right? In this hypothetical make-believe scenario. Now, if we take that into consideration, that's $8,000 billion, literally, give or take, because $1 trillion is $1,000 billion, and $1 billion is $1,000 million. I mean, I think that, if anything, truly puts into perspective as to just how massive those figures are. So let's say out of $8,000 billion, hypothetically, right, 8 trillion, are we saying that around 7 billion can't flow into this? Now, I'm not saying that, this is bound to happen or guaranteed. I'm not saying that, right? I'm not telling anyone to buy Prime, but I'm just saying it doesn't seem that unrealistic in my opinion. And if I think about it as well, again, when it comes to something like Echelon, the hype is on the rise, right? Because for quite a while, everyone thought Gala was, really amazing. But really, I think something like Beam has overtaken Gala in terms of the hype and, the attention. I'm very bullish on Beam, by the way. So if you like that, feel free to watch my Beam videos. But even besides that point, something like Echelon is kind of nipping on the heels a little bit, right? It's kind of like approaching the Gala status, in my opinion. And I do like this. I like the trajectory in which Echelon is heading. I like the community. I think it's very amazing. I think it's very passionate. I think exchange listings could be better, though, when it comes to Prime, but it's pretty good enough. And also, when it comes to something like Echelon, not too long ago when the market was doing, pretty good, especially when it comes to altcoins, Echelon did pretty much go along with the ride a little bit. Now, I get it, a bunch of projects out there had a pretty big pullback, but the way you take a look at it is that, if anything, kind of confirms that, maybe when the market really does pick up in a massive way again, something like Echelon could gain that attention. And again, I think that, if anything, showcases that, when the market is euphoric, when it's bullish, Echelon is on a project that's kind of forgotten about. Some other projects out there, they're forgotten about. People don't care. But this one, there are some indicators that, people, they might care. Now, it's just a waiting game at this point, because even if we take a look at it, historically speaking, usually altcoins as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, and 18 months after the last Bitcoin halving event would actually mean around October this year, because of course it happened back in April of last year. Now, is this a guarantee? No. I mean, there's no guarantees about the future, because how do we know, right? But then, in my opinion, I'm still going to pay attention nonetheless, because the way I take a look at it is that, how can the bull run be over? How can, Bitcoin peak at only around quote-unquote $100,000? I highly doubt that. With over 600 million crypto owners, is that really the case? Again, that's according to Crypto.com research, by the way. I'm not making that number up. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is this. If we have over 600 million crypto owners currently, what would the amount of crypto owners look like if Bitcoin was at $200,000, $300,000? I mean, would there be 700 million, 800 million? Who knows? That wouldn't surprise me, though. But if, Echelon was looking that bullish not too long ago, imagine if there's more crypto owners. Imagine if Bitcoin is doing very well, Ethereum is doing very well. Let's say Solana is doing very well as well, which I'm also very bullish on Solana. But even besides that, imagine if all that type of stuff happened. Again, $200 wouldn't surprise me at all when it comes to Prime, and all I have to do right now is just stay patient. That's it. Accumulate more, hold, and I just wait. That's the strategy I'm using. That's a little bit boring, but you know what? That's what I do. And $200, again, wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Wally the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.